Hi everyone and welcome to Season 1, Episode 2 of Reputation Rebuild at Aberdeen with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So, early in the first season, it's been kind of the start you'd expect really. We've lost against a couple of the real heavyweights in the division. We've also struggled a little bit in the Europa League. But other than that, we have picked up some decent performances along the way and a few points. And things are looking all right. Today we play a direct rival for a top 4 position in Hibernian. So, as you'll remember from last episode, the first of this brand new series, we still have a couple of defensive issues in terms of our injuries to our goalkeeper and central defender, which is still going to be slightly long-term, which is unfortunate. We do sit 5th in the table currently, having played 5 matches and got 7 points from them. Not too bad, considering we've played both Rangers and Celtic, who both, spoiler alert, absolutely tonked us. But other than that, things have been looking pretty good. So let's go and check out the early season form. So obviously you were with me for the 4-0 defeat by Rangers on the opening day of the season. Really big defeat, unfortunately. We also lost 3-0 to Celtic a couple of games later as well, which was kind of what we expected at this point. We did get 3-0 win against Hamilton though, which was really positive. And Cambury started to score some goals. He's got a couple in 6 games. Unfortunately, didn't get any more after this point, but I was hoping at that moment that he would start scoring and scoring and scoring. Hasn't quite happened, unfortunately. We got the 3-0 defeat against Celtic. St Johnstone held us to a 0-0 draw, which was quite disappointing. Although we were away from home, it was such a flat match, and I couldn't get a real thing out of the team, particularly. They were not interested, it didn't feel like. We then picked up a very, very late winner in the 93rd minute against Livingston for a 1-0 win. And then we came up against Slavia Sofia in the Euro Cup, the Europa League. And this was an early qualifying match, and we took it all the way through to extra time. Unfortunately, got taken out on penalties at the end of that particular match, and that is our Euro Cup dream gone for the season. I can't say that I'm overly disappointed though, really, because ultimately we just have to do much better than maybe people anticipate we will do in the Scottish Premier League, Premiership, should I say, to keep us moving in the right direction. We still have absolutely no money. We still have the same amount of wages, which means that a couple more free transfers did not happen before this point. And we're kind of done in the transfer market almost. And I think we're just going to have to work with what we've got. We've had so many issues. I've tried to bring so many people in on free transfers, and either they're not interested or they are interested, but the club will not pay any form of fee alongside the wages that we're asked to pay. And even if it's like 20 grand as a payment to give a team, they're just not allowing me to move the budget around to cover it. And so we are really, really struggling to bring enough players in. What we've got a squad now of is about 22, 23 players, which is really low in comparison to the sort of 25 that I normally have. But we're just going to have to make the best of it. That's what we've got to work with. I'm going to try a last-ditch effort after this match to maybe bring a couple in, but I can't see it happening, to be honest. Overall, though, what I would say is, even though I was very underwhelmed with this particular squad when I first took over, and the suggestion was that we were going to finish somewhere in about the 3rd sort of spot in the division, in the media prediction for the league, I kind of wasn't sure that that was going to be the case when I looked at the squad. But what it seems is, other than Rangers and Celtic, the standard actually is not particularly high. And that's kind of, with the greatest respect to all the Scottish fans out there, is kind of what the sort of the world sees of the Scottish League, and it's playing out in FM. So maybe that 3rd position is ours for the taking, even with a slightly weak squad. I do believe, though, if we can go through the next 4 or 5 transfer windows and continue to build this squad up, I think I can do a better job of pushing Rangers and Celtic by the end of the 3 seasons that we've got. So it's still the intention to do that. Currently, we sit 5th. We've been beaten by the big guys. We're holding our own against everybody else. Hibernian is the opponent for today. They're on 5 points after 5 games. Haven't started brilliantly, but it's still going to be a bit of a tricky game and one which we really kind of need to win just to cement that sort of opportunity for 3rd position. So let's see how we get on. So because it's still early in the season, because we've played both the big giants in the league already, and those kind of games at this moment are a bit of a non-event for us, we're still maintaining this particular structure to see whether we can get this to work, because I think it fits the players best. That flat free midfielders I think works pretty well in terms of the personnel. We've got that target man in Cambury, who's also supported by the likes of Hornby and Hendry, if need be, in rotation in that role, but they all can play that kind of target kind of man. So we're dropping him in deep, just in case you missed the first episode, on a lower line of engagement. So we're not moving the ball too high up the pitch in one go, playing route one. What we're doing is kind of cheating it a little bit and playing route one, but only kind of halfway up the pitch. He holds the ball and then the support gathers around him and he moves it on, moves again, and we go again in terms of trying to get it into the box. And there have been a couple of goals that we've scored that have been demonstrating that quite well. So that does kind of work. We'll have to wait and see whether it does today. So we still have the issue, unfortunately, of our number 1 choice goalkeeper, Lewis, being out for still quite some considerable time. He's still got another month and a half probably before he's totally back to fitness. But he is really important to us. He's a decent goalkeeper at this level that we need to get back, because unfortunately the backup that we've got isn't particularly good. So yeah, that's just one of those things that we're having to deal with though. So he's out, and also Devlin is still out, one of our rotating central defenders who could come in and do a job for us. So getting him back into the playing squad would be useful as well. Other than that though, everybody else is reasonably fit. You can see by the match sharpness here that we haven't rotated the side too much just yet, because we're still getting to grips with how to play this system. But this particular starting 11 have done okay so far. And let's see if they can do that again. So for today's match against Hibernian in the Scottish Premiership, we've got Woods in goal, Logan at right back, Hayes at left back, Hobben and Considine in central defence, Ferguson, McCrory and Vertinen in central midfield, Hedges on the right, Kennedy on the left and Cambury up top, and pretty much everybody else on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So after the disappointment of going out in the Euro Cup, the Europa League, I just kind of wanted to G the players up a little bit. So we pumped the fist and said, come on lads, show me what you can do today. Being away from home against one of our more direct rivals in Hibs is going to be a little bit tricky. They're coming in with a 4-2-3-1 formation. So it'll be interesting to see where the gaps are in and around the pitch today. But I think we can give them certainly a good game and properly show that we can compete with most teams in this particular division. They are our direct rivals, as I say, for that 3rd spot in terms of what the media predicted. Celtic and Rangers at this point are way in advance of both of us. So for now, that's going to have to be the case. So it's these sorts of games that are more important to us, really. Trying to suppress the likes of Hibernian around us will help us no end moving to where we need to go in this particular series. So at the moment, it's an important match and we'll see how we get on. 25 minutes in though, no major issues in terms of no highlights to show. You can see that Hibs have had a few more shots at goal than we have. That's just the nature of how we play a little bit at the moment. It only takes that one opportunity to get through on goal at times. And on this occasion, it looks like we're going to get to half-time without a highlight again. Didn't that happen in the Rangers match? Oh, no, it didn't, because they were like 2-0 up or something at half-time or something. I can't remember, but there's been a couple of games where we've gone highlight free here and there, which is unfortunate, especially in the first half. But the second half, we usually come to life a bit. So let's see if we can do that again. Point the finger, tell them I'm not happy with the performance. They need to be doing a little bit more than they are. We're going to go into the tactics, and immediately we're going to take out the cautious mentality and go into positive, just to see if we can get on the front foot a little bit. And then we're going to go out for the second half and go into the shouts and demand more from them, and see if that first sort of 15 minutes of this second half can bring out a couple of highlights to look at and give us an idea of where we're working and not working in terms of our setup for today. Because, of course, without the highlights, all we're looking at is a screen full of numbers rather than the actual movement of players. 69 minutes, 70 minutes coming and going, and we're still none the wiser as what's going on. So we're going to have to make an informed decision on what we can see in front of us and change some stuff up a little bit. We've got some players that are really struggling with their conditioning, having played quite a lot of football in the early part of the season. So McCrory comes out and Dabu can go in and play that midfield role, the ball-winning midfield role. We've got Hedges on the right-hand side struggling, so McLennan can come in and play for him. And Cambry up top, been very quiet today. Hornby can play for him. It was all about getting fresh legs onto the pitch and taking some of those lower condition players out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go from positive into attacking. And we are going to go into the game again and then go straight into the shouts and fire them up for the last 15 minutes of the match and see if we can find a way to batter down the door and at least get a highlight or something to look at. And we do. We get a highlight. It's in our defensive area. We've worked it out wide right to McLennan. He takes it into Hornby. Hornby over the top for Kennedy. Out wide left, though. Got pushed very deep. Hornby with the effort. McLennan on the follow-up from the block shot. And he puts it into the back of the net after 81 minutes. And we take a 1-0 lead with about 10 minutes to go. It was a good movement, a good ball over the top for Kennedy. He was pushed a bit wide. A very good block from the Hibs defender on the shot from Hornby. But McLennan finds the ball at his feet. The goalkeeper was slightly out of position and he puts the ball home. And we do get that 1-0 advantage with a few minutes to go. Right at the death of the game, we took advantage of a slip by Hibs, or unlucky moment by Hibs. And we do come out 1-0 winners. Not the most inspiring game, that one highlight, but that's the way that we play a little bit. We have to take the chances when we get them, and today we did just about. You can see in terms of the match day statistics, they had 9 shots at goal, 3 on target, 11 and 4 for us. So we were slightly in advance of them in the shots that we got away eventually, but that first half was a real dire affair, wasn't it? Just a shade under 1 as an XG rating for us. So we were pushing that 1 goal and we just about got it. Decent passing completion, decent possession for a Route 1 style game for us, to be honest. But that's because we're not going from back to front too long. We've dropped the front guy in to make those passes easier. I like this setup and style of play if we can get it working. And to be honest, the strikers are not good enough to do anything else. So overall, I'm reasonably happy, although it was a fairly drab affair to watch. We came away with the 3 points, and that's all that matters. So here we are back on the schedule page, figuring out where to come back for next episode. And whilst I'm fully aware that they're ahead of us in terms of how good they are currently, the likes of both Rangers and Celtic are really important for us to play this season and start to understand how much of a gap we've got. So we're going to come back next episode and play the Celtic match. It's kind of going to be a hiding to nothing, I suspect, but we're at home, and hopefully what we can do is reduce that 3-0 defeat that we had to them away from home earlier in the season, and just show that we can compete a little bit better with them, maybe. That might not come to fruition, and we might get dumped all over by them, but we've got to start somewhere, and this is our start. So we might as well play them on the episodes and see how we get on. So next up will be Celtic. Then we've got Rangers a couple of games after that again, and Hibs. It comes thick and fast, this particular division. Playing them all 3 times each means that you've got some big games to play quite often. But overall, I think the start that we've made has been okay. I think we're in the sort of position that we kind of expected to be. We're sitting fourth at the moment. Hopefully between now and the Celtic game, we can pick up another couple of wins, and that will really bump us into that third position and see what sort of pressure we can put on the likes of Celtic. So join me next episode to see how we get on there. I'll update you with everything else that goes on in between times. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I hope you're going to enjoy this series with me. It's certainly going to be a challenge. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Go and look in the links in the description below to the likes of my Discord and my Twitter account and my Patreon, and there's a merchandise store, all of that sort of stuff. Go and let me know what you think about all of that. Until next time, though, click the like button on this particular episode and then take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.